Hey guys, Chad here, coming to you on a Tuesday. This is going to be one of my main features that I'm going to focus on a regular basis. It's going to be greatest albums of all time and walking you through what we know about them, what their impact is, why they're the greatest, why they're important, why they deserve to be discussed moving forward and in the past. So tell me, what comes to mind if you're of my generation and you hear this sound? Or perhaps if that doesn't do it for us, perhaps when you hear, say, this. So we're talking about Superfly, which of course is a soundtrack album brought to you by the one and only Curtis Mayfield. But if you're a member of my generation or just a little older, maybe just a little bit younger, those of us born in the early 80s, late 70s, maybe even prior or a little after, what do you think of first is hip-hop music? You don't have hip-hop if you don't have things like Curtis Mayfield and Superfly. So a little bit of a preamble here is that not many people know this, but I have actually made it a personal project, not for this video, this was years ago. I've made it a personal project to listen to and dive into every single album in Rolling Stone's top 500 albums of all time. If I'm remembering correctly, based on where I lived when I started this, I believe I started listening to these. It started on number 500, probably in 2015, and I am down to album number 72, so I'm in the top 100 at this point, and it's Superfly, Curtis Mayfield. Very familiar with the 3 or 4 most famous songs on it. The title track, of course, Superfly itself, as well as Freddy's Dead. Those are obviously huge, and then Pusher Man, the first one I played here for you, mainly because I heard Eminem do the interpolation in the chorus of I'm Shady on the Slim Shady LP. So, like a lot of things in my generation, I discovered 60s and 70s stuff through a different avenue. Like a lot of people in our generation found the Grateful Dead's Scarlet Begonias via Sublime first. For better or worse. I think it's a great rendition, but the original, of course, is the classic, but we came by it secondhand. This is another example. The samples from this LP in hip-hop music are enormous. I've come up with a list here, and it's crazy. And I can tell you why. This is urban music. This is why something like hip-hop exists in the first place, and especially why it's become the dominant art form over the years to the point now where hip-hop is pop music. It just dominates the pop music scene. Again, for better or worse. Sometimes for better, you get all kinds of interesting creativity, and sometimes for worse because a lot of modern hip-hop in the mainstream has become a carbon copy of itself, to the point of self-parody. Doesn't mean there aren't innovative and crucial artists out there. Kendrick Lamar comes to mind, Tyler the Creator, plenty more, Childish Gambino, that are doing interesting things, but so much of it has been watered down. But we would have never gotten to that point had it not been for this, had it not been for James Brown, had it not been for Shaft, a couple of influences on Curtis Mayfield, and especially on Superfly. But what this album did was he scored it to a movie. I've never seen the movie. If you have, tell me about it. But it's what we call Blaxploitation. And he scored this because this is what he heard, this is what he saw, and this was the story he told. He told about the urban life. He told the story of the urban life, specifically most focused on drug dealing and drug addicts, and what that was doing to the community that he witnessed firsthand and has probably heard about a lot secondhand. So he told the story about that, and this album is so obsessed with it. Freddy's Dead is a song that I can't hear without picturing, a chalk outline, a dead body, some disregarded alley in the hood, and it's tragedy. A lot of what this album ends up speaking to is that it's a tragedy. From my research, what I've read, a lot of this album is much sadder and more honest than the film was that it was scoring. Curtis told the truth, and this is the man who wrote "People Get Ready." This is the man who sang in that beautiful, silky smooth, very gentle falsetto, but still carried so much power. And his main goal was to tell the truth. What's Going On by Marvin Gaye came out in 71. This came out in 72. There's the same lineage of music going on here. James Brown's "I'm Black and I'm Proud" came out in 69. This is all of the same lineage. Sly and the Family Stone, they had released There's a Riot Going On right before this as well. So this is all part of the same animal, and this is a funkier side. It's got the famous wah-wah guitar that Curtis is playing. It's certainly got the strings, just gorgeous strings, and then of course those horn vamps, those horn punches, huge part of what makes it work. So the lyrics match extremely well with the music, but the music to me really sells the tragedy and sells Curtis's own sadness and his community's sadness for what's happened. And that's why this album works. And that's why it's a precursor to hip hop, because hip hop has been, is, and always will be based on telling the truth of a certain demographic. Not black, I don't mean black, I mean poverty, I mean the underdog, I mean the oppressed. It tells that story. It's the same lineage, and this goes way back. This is all just like all soul and funk music and hip hop. As a result of that, this all goes back to the blues, which of course goes back to the slave spirituals and hymns. So it's all rooted in Africa, and you listen to the drums on this, and you hear that quite a bit. Let's listen to the drums here again on the title track. Just wait for them to kick in. You're going to hear these drums. You hear that? Woo. And the rhythm section is so locked in, so tight, like all good funk and soul music. Yeah, you've got, oh man. So you have a lot going on there. You've got those tribal drums, the hand percussion, but you've got those horns punching in with those blasts. And then you have that guitar doing that little phased echo thing as like a callback, an answer. So there's a lot going on, like I said. And this is before Curtis is saying a word to you. This is before that sweet falsetto comes in. There's so much going on. But like I said, those roots, the African roots. So as awful as the legacy it comes from is, it is the lineage of music that has led to the point where black music, especially hip hop and R&B and rap and trap and all of that, has become the dominant popular mainstream music. Again, for better or worse. I could say a lot of different things about my thoughts on that. That's for another day. But the impact of this, you can't measure it. And there's a reason why it ranked 72nd in Rolling Stone's 2012 edition of the 500 Greatest Albums. So there was the 2003, the 2012, and then another one last year in 2020. I like the 2012 version. I think it's the most accurate. I mean, there's no way to rank albums from 500 to 1 in any objective way. But to me, for my taste and from my point of view, 2012 did the greatest job balancing what's come before in rock and roll from the 6 decades prior, and then all the way up to the 21st century. The 2020 update to me leaned too much into, we want to rank certain albums a certain way, so we're going to manipulate the results because we want to look a certain way. And I don't want to get political or anything, but music should be ranked just off music. If you're going to do the project, let's talk about music. So this is why it's a top 100 album. It's not because it's supposed to be to please anybody. It's because the music spoke. It was influenced by the great stuff going on, and it has had an enormous impact. Every single Blaxploitation film that came out after this, including one scored by Mr. Mayfield, every single one was influenced by the sound that was established here. Isaac Hayes' Shaft that I mentioned earlier is the precursor, but that was one song, the main title theme, and then a bunch of instrumentals. This is a set of songs, a singular vision by a singular artist, one of the greatest artists of all time. And it's all brought to you in a way that's scaled down under 40 minutes long, like a lot of classic albums from that era, where it tells the story. If you listen to it from beginning to end, it makes total cohesive sense, and it is heartbreaking if you really dig in. But it's also funky. So you can't have one without the other. You can't tell the truth without the rhythm. You can't tell the funk without having a point to it and a meaning. What did Chuck D say? And He Got Game? Damn the game if it ain't saying nothing. It's all part of the same lineage. It's a pleasure to listen to as well. So if you're tired of listening to me go on about it, just dig in. Here's what you're in for. You know, here's what you get coming to you. You get Freddy's Dead. Listen to how locked in they are. There's the voice. That's also been sampled quite a bit. Just to give you an idea, if you're wondering, where have I heard some of this stuff before? The biggest one for Superfly is Eggman, Beastie Boys, of course, from Paul's Boutique in 1989. And then you have the intro to Ready to Die, Notorious B.I.G. You got Ghetto Boys, Nelly, I see Alicia Keys on here, all kinds of stuff for Superfly. You want Freddy's Dead? You get in the video version of Doggy Dog World by Snoop Doggy Dogg, it's in that. I see Erykah Badu. Of course, Master P did Kenny's Dead for the South Park original show soundtrack. It's a little pun there. I see UGK, Underground Kings, Eric Sermon, all kinds of stuff. You get Pusha Man, of course, you get the aforementioned I'm Shady from Eminem's Slim Shady LP. I see Chance the Rapper, Ice-T, Clips, B.O.B. featuring T.I., Cameron, all kinds of stuff. And then you get Give Me Your Love. And if you've listened to Doggy Style 1,000 times from Snoop Doggy Dogg, his debut, like I have, then you'll recognize that from the opening skit, the bathtub skit. It's all over hip-hop. This album is everywhere. These sounds are so embedded into your brain. If you came of age in the late 20th century, it's no surprise and no mystery. So go listen to Superfly, carve out 37, I believe, minutes, 38 minutes, listen to it, groove to it. I was listening to it, taking my dog for a walk a couple days ago, and it gets your blood flowing, and it also gets your mind going. So there's a reason why it's classic. It is and will always remain great music. Thank you to Curtis for the stellar songwriting. He knew how to play the guitar with that wah-wah, the right kind of clean channel with the right kind of funk. His voice is just silky smooth and beautiful with that falsetto. And he knew how to hire the right musicians, crack musicians that did not make any mistakes. It's a perfect, tight album, a great representation of the early 70s, of urban life in the early 70s, and its enormous impact will be felt forever through the lineage of hip-hop, R&B, and every other derivative thereof. So give it a listen today. Thank you guys for watching. Please give my video a like. Please subscribe to my channel if you like my content. And I'll be seeing you guys again real soon. Take care and have a great day.